I don't think anyone like looks at you guys and is like, oh my God, what losers. Like, I think, no, because it's like...
I should hope not.
No. You've just got to hit the maul with all of your life. And I just remember feeling like a demented chicken, just like hitting this maul.
I feel like we'd be pals, like if she knew me. But I just really
it's
like...
that confidence again shining through.
Obviously, if she was sat here right now, we'd be besties.
We'd be besties. You two wouldn't be here. And then that's it.
Hello, welcome to the official Rugby World Cup podcast, brought to you by Asahi Super Dry, the official beer of the Women's Rugby World Cup 2025. I'm your host, Betty Glover, and joining me is my co-host, Anne Onwusiri. Anne, you okay? How's life?
I'm doing great. I'm having the time of my life.
Are you?
It's the summer of sport.
It is the summer of sport. It is also very hot, by the way. We're recording this in London. 30 degrees today, apparently.
33. 33. We're basically in Morocco.
Yeah, but you're okay because you've got a fan over there.
I do. I'm one of the special ones.
Well, our first guest of this podcast is, of course, former Red Rose, Shaunagh Brown. How's life? You okay?
Yeah, life's good. Life's busy. Just trying to keep up with it. I actually can't get dressed these days without fading into the carpet.
I can't get dressed nowadays, guys. I'm glad you've got clothes on today, though, Shaunagh. That's really nice. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, but you do blend really well into our setting.
Yeah, I think this is probably one for the video listeners. They have to see, because right now they're like, what is she talking about?
Yeah.
Has she even got any clothes on today?
If you're listening to this, Shaunagh Brown has rocked up wearing an orange sort of fantastic linen two-piece, but it is the exact same shade of the floor.
Yeah.
It looks good though.
I might do some snow angels later.
Oh yeah.
For a treat. Maybe like a clip for socials, I've heard.
And actually Anne, how do you describe what we in? What we sat in right now?
So we are sat in an orange cage in Regent Street.
Yeah.
What does that mean, you might ask? That sounds really weird.
We're not at the zoo.
We're not at the zoo. So we are in the incredible pop-up Style of Our Own, which is powered by MasterCard, and it's on London Regent Street. The likes of like MasterCard, Crown Estate and Westminster City Council have all worked together to create this amazing space. We've got like over 25 independent brands that are mainly led by women, and it's for sports fans and sports athletes to come together and have a space that's ours and dedicated to women's sports, especially with like all the amazing things that are happening this summer. And we're here until the end of October. And it's all very exciting.
Do you know what? It is so cool. I was walking around and I was like, wow. Also, by the way, there's some ridiculous, I know this is a rugby podcast, but there's some ridiculous golf
side note
gear.
incoming.
Yeah. I want to play golf now.
I'm obsessed with golf outfits. I haven't actually ever touched a golf club, but like the outfits are just absolutely lush.
Well, we're going to be bringing you so many episodes previewing the Women's Rugby World Cup. We'll be previewing different games. We'll be bringing you big names as well throughout the tournament. So it is very exciting, but it is 50 days to go. So we're going to start the chat right here, right now, starting with looking back at the last Rugby World Cup, which Shaunagh, you were in.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a wild ride, but I got myself by hell or high water. I did get myself in that team.
Hell or high water. Well, Anne, I think I can give you the challenge of summing up the last Rugby World Cup for us in 30 seconds. Can you?
Easy.
Are you confident?
I'm always confident.
Oh. Do you know what? I could do with a little bit of that confidence.
I'm delusional.
No, I trust you. I've got faith. Right. I've got a timer.
Fabulous.
30-second timer. You're going to sum up the final, and then Shaunagh can tell you if you've done a good job or not.
I can judge afterwards.
Yeah,
nice.
You were in
Love
it.
that.
Right. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
So it was in New Zealand. England had a 30-game winning streak. Lydia Thompson got a red card 10 minutes in, 20 minutes in, quite early on.
18 minutes in.
18, so close. I was close. And the score was 34-31 to New Zealand. And everyone was fabulous, and I really enjoyed watching it. And that's what I get Was that accurate?
I personally really enjoyed that everyone was fabulous part. Shaunagh, how do you reflect on that final now when you look back on it? It feels like it was years and years ago, wasn't it?
Yes, literally years and years ago. It still makes me sad. I still think there's a lot of days in a week I think, how different would my life be today if we had won that day? What would be different about how I'm living, where I'm going today, literally. So it still sits with me. But even at the end of that final whistle went, and I just stood there and I just thought, what a waste of time that was. What was the point of that? Like, I wasn't crying, I wasn't angry, upset. It was just empty. And I was just like, I've just been dedicating my whole entire life to this, and we've lost. Like, what was the point? And I just thought, I just want someone to transport me back to my house right now. So yeah, that was like immediately as soon as the whistle went. But then we went back to the changing room, and it was me and Poppy Clill, who's just like, she was just sitting in a hot tub. And we just sat there just talking about life, like nothing to do with rugby. And then it's like, right, it's just starting to feel a bit better. But then on the bus on the way home, like what we do after an England game, and after most club games if you're on a bus, is sing. And so that's what we did. We just sang whole way home. Yeah, it was Adele, Find Someone Like You.
Oh, God.
So, yeah.
Come on.
Led by Hannah Bottoman.
You can do better than
whole
that.
heart. But yeah, it was, so that
Were you
sort of
crying
started.
as you were singing that? It's quite a sad song. I wouldn't say that's going to get your spirits up, is
didn't
it?
get the spirits.
No.
But it was more because that's what we do. Win or lose, like we just sing. So we all sang in sadness, but I think there was a bit of, not necessarily happiness, but there was like, nobody was crying.
Yeah.
It wasn't the end of the world. Like, worse things could happen. Let's put all of this into perspective. Like, we're still in a pretty good place. But it was when I came home that I realized a lot more about the impact that we had, because we're so far removed from it. We're waking up, people are just going to bed. Like, it blows my mind to this day to think people were waking up to watch games at 5-6 o'clock in the morning. I'm just in my head, I'm like, why? I wouldn't do that. I'd just watch it on catch up later when I got up.
You can't watch live sport on catch up.
No, I know. It's one of the only things left in this world that we actually watch live.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was mainly when I got home, I appreciated how much we'd done for the sport in our country. But yeah, in that moment, empty, nothing.
So you weren't crying, but Anne was crying.
I was crying.
But I think it's for other reasons though.
And you just got back from a party. Am I right in thinking? And you watched the final.
A little soiree that I went to, and I got back and then was like, there's no point going to bed. I'm just going to stay up and watch the game, because I was like really excited and really scared I was going to miss it. And then watched it with some friends, and then like just the last 10 minutes, I think it was just like, it's just not, like, we don't know what's going to happen. It just wasn't looking good. And then like the final whistle went and it was just silence. And then like a couple of us just started crying, and it was just like, I don't know, it was just so emotional, because seeing the like players and like watching the journeys and that, like the whole World Cup as a whole, you could really got to know everyone's personalities and just how much it meant to everyone. So you're rooting for like everyone individually as well. And I think that's what broke my heart more, because I was just like, everyone just looked a bit like, okay, what now?
Yeah,
I mean,
literally.
little Sadia Kabeya's face, and she was like 18 at the time, and like that broke my heart. And but it was like, I don't think anyone like looks at you guys and is like, oh my God, what losers. Like, I think, no, because it's like...
I should hope not.
No, but it's, like, it's just...
Don't you think it's strange though? So in team sports, when you get to a final, if you lose the final, you are a loser. But if you go to an Olympic Games or Commonwealth or a tournament as an individual and there's medals, you get a bronze medal, everyone's buzzing.
Yeah, but
we got a silver medal. We're the second best team in the whole entirety of the world, but I still feel like we failed.
I've never had a medal before.
Ever. In anything
I don't
ever?
think so. I think I've had like
Surely.
participation medals.
We got one of those too, to
something
be
nice.
fair.
Well, I didn't get a World Cup one. Maybe this year.
Maybe. There's still
Are they still
time, man.
What's positions? You're front row, aren't you?
I don't want to be anymore.
Okay.
I
What
want
do you want to, what do you want to be?
I want to be a 10 or
Okay.
fullback.
Brilliant.
I don't know.
You really like running?
No, like I want to use my brain more than my neck can't handle it anymore. I
That's
say
fair
that I've
enough.
got many more
You
seasons
know there's
left
like
in
other
me.
positions in the forwards.
No.
No, not for
No.
me.
Get away from the scrum. I'm done.
She wants out of that scrum. Do you remember the final line-out throw?
Yeah, because I was in the line out. I was at the back of the line out, and everyone in the whole world knew it was going to the front. And they, in like our little pod at the back was like, come on, send it to us. Like, we've got this. Because in my mind, I'd only just come on as well. So it's just like, this is my moment. I didn't get much time on the pitch on the final, but that I knew would have been like a momentous occasion. And it went to the front and you saw them compete and you think, right. And now, like, ball's gone up, players have come down, you've just got to hit the maul with all of your life. And I just remember feeling like a demented chicken, just like hitting this maul, and it's not moving. So I'm coming back out and I'm hitting it again, coming back out, like, why it's not moving? And then it's just a mess on the floor. But yeah, I do remember that lineup. Not to bring the mood down or anything.
Yeah, God, should we start singing Adele, guys?
Demented chicken is my favourite.
That's a great way of describing it.
It's just sort of head out in.
I know, of course, you've retired now, but just for England's story, if they can go on to this World Cup in their home turf and win after that final, that's going to feel extra special.
Yeah, for sure. It'll be the fairy tale, and not even ending, just a fairy tale story. But I actually think that the last World Cup will be completely forgotten about if England win this one, because this is all that matters. And I think of course, the Lionesses and women winning at the Euros at Wembley, and I was there. And I couldn't even tell you where the last Euros were, but I can tell you what it felt like to be in that stadium for that winning goal from Chloe Kelly. So yeah, if England win this World Cup, it'll be like, sorry, pardon, what? There was a World Cup before 2025? Like, nobody cares because we're here now. But yeah, for sure, it will be part of the tremendous fairy tale of England rugby.
Well, let's get into sort of where England are at now, Anne. What's been England's biggest test since that final?
I think it was England versus France at this year's Six Nations. The score, I remember being there in person, and I think it was, I can't remember what the score was.
There's only a point in it.
Yeah, there was only a point in it. And
last play.
For the last play, it was the most nerve-wracking thing I've ever, because I was like, I like to be a bit controversial. So I said to all my friends, I think France are going to do this. And they were like, no, they're not. No, they're not. And then like for the last 10 minutes, we were all just like, what? Like, France might actually do this. And I was like, oh, wait, I was just saying that for the sake of it. I didn't actually think it. But it was just so tense to watch. And France had put up such a great fight as well. And so did England, obviously. And then the last play, there was a knock-on at the kickoff. And then the whistle went. And everyone in the stadium just, like, lost it because it was just so tight and just so... like, it was so stressful. But I think that was the first time in a while that I've seen England maybe... not wobble a bit, but just like have a strong competition. And I think I'm really excited for like the World Cup for them to play like the Canadas and USAs and everyone and see
New Zealand.
Yeah, New Zealand, and just see them just shake a little bit. But I feel like that's when they like perform best, when there's like pressure.
That whole tournament, last tournament, they had some ups and downs, and it was nice to talk about it. Obviously, I'm an English player, English fan, but being now on the other side of it, and I've been in the changing room, I've been there at halftime, I've been on that pitch, and knowing how tough those girls would have taken it, and they'd have held themselves to such a high account. And that game against France, it's good for them. They need to be down at halftime. They need to not score for a whole second half against Italy and then only score in the last few minutes. They need to be close with Ireland, because that's when great rugby players are produced and fantastic teams. And that last play when France scored, well, not last play, that France scored towards the end, England were walking back to the halfway line, and I got shivers down my spine because I was pitch side, but the noise of the crowd, and you knew exactly what it's for. It was for those England girls to G them up. And then you got Meg Jones doing Meg Jones things on the side, like, yeah, come on, because that's how she's powered. And I was just like, wow, like these girls, like they have to do it because they've got the pressure of this whole entire stadium watching them. But took it well, and obviously came away with the win in the end. But but also the test stuff for me is good for rugby. Like nobody, including England fans, wants to see England just trample all over anyone. So yeah, I'm all here for the close games. Although as a player, maybe not, but as a fan and as a coach, you want to see that. Yeah.
Do you think that sort of pressure and that sort of test was something that England were perhaps missing going into the last World Cup?
Like, it's hard to say because you can only play what's in front of you, England continue to raise the bar. They continue to invest in their women's game. They continue to get great partners on board who believe in the mission. And we can't, I say we as in England, like we can't wait for others to catch up to us. We're going to keep pushing forward. So like every time we played France, it's a test. No matter what the last result was, it's like no matter what the occasion, the time of day, where we are, even the first half, like France is so unpredictable. You have to treat them as the best team in the world every time you play them. And then we've beaten them like 16 times in a row. But, you know, going into the 17th game, you can't think like that. And the same, like when we faced Canada before, USA are just so athletic and powerful and strong. And some would say like they're still working on getting their, you know, the rugby brains so much in the team and the deep entrenched tactics. But to play physically against some of these, I say Americans, Canadians, because they're so physical and so unpredictable. But again, like I come back to the entertainment value, which I'm now watching as a fan. And I'm like, yeah, these girls, but all of the girls from all of the countries need to be tested.
You talked earlier about the sort of atmosphere on home soil and the crowd and that noise in the stadium. England are going to have that throughout this Rugby World Cup.
Yeah.
How do you think they're going to deal with that pressure?
I think they'll embrace it and love it, because even bits like we used to train with noise, enforced noise, as in massive speakers around the pitch.
Did you?
Yeah.
What was coming out of those speakers?
Unnecessary, not unnecessary, but like just crowd noises. So and sometimes music, but the whole point was to just almost put us off.
Yeah.
But it's what do you do now? You've got a line out caller who can't shout loud enough to a hooker. What do?
Right.
You have hand signals. You've got an 8 who can't shout loud enough to the 9, to the 10, etc. So then it's just like, okay, what now?
Yeah.
And you'd randomly maybe have a player sent off for no reason whatsoever, and particularly again someone like a hooker who is pivotal in the whole game, and maybe you'd have a 10 or 9 sent off. Like, what do you do? And you didn't have a lot of time to think about it. So they are constantly preparing for the worst, and literally a coach would just pull someone off the pitch. And maybe not even make a big thing of it. And you have to kind of, as a player who's on still, you have to work it out, then do something about it. But yeah, England are constantly preparing. And I can imagine other teams do it too, because to me, like, it just makes sense. Even if you're used to playing with not many crowds and not many sounds, you're about to play in a World Cup, girls. You're about to play in a World Cup in England, where over 300,000 tickets have already been sold. You can't get tickets to the final.
I'm thinking we should do that at Hackney. We get 10 people watching, but I think it's like nice to.
Yeah.
I quite like the idea of like the crowd and the noise and the attention.
Yeah, because then you have to hyper concentrate on a particular person and a particular voice, and you have to tune into certain person's voice.
Because as a player, you can't ever prepare yourself for that feeling of walking out at Twickenham, faces everywhere looking at you, that atmosphere, the cheering. So it's interesting you say about the speakers, but like, that's not the same.
No, it's not. And like you say, it's the people. And one of the most heartwarming, I guess, tests that I had as a athlete, as a person, was right back in 2014 at the Commonwealth Games when I was a hammer thrower. I'm walking out at Glasgow Hampden Park, and there's, you know, I say only 20,000 people, but, you know, compared to a rugby stadium. And I was just walking out, looking around me, seeing the people, feeling the warmth, because it was at night, and you could literally feel people. And I was just crying, like my tears. I like nothing had happened. Was literally just walking out to the track and to the cage and just crying. But yeah, you're right. No matter how much noise, no matter how much you prepare, like the pressure. I've heard stories before where, like, a kicker has been told, like at the beginning of a session, if you don't get 5 kicks in a row, then the whole team's not training today. And as much as you might think, oh, great, bonus, no training today. Like, you know, when you're playing international rugby, you want to train. Yeah. So, and that's the only way to try and enforce that pressure. Like, the whole team's training session today, and every training session is precious, is only going to happen if you succeed in getting these
so much pressure
balls over the bar.
This is why I never made it as a professional athlete, because I'd crumble. I'd just start crying.
But you say that when you're in the moment, and it, like, you will mold your whole life, everything, every moment in your day is dedicated to being the best rugby player, to playing in a World Cup, to being a World Cup finalist, World Cup medalist. You'll soon, like, it'll be your everyday. There's some things now I look back and I go, that's wild. Why did I do that? But like, it's what I wanted to do, so I did it. And now, like, life perspective has changed, and so I wouldn't do it. But yeah, when it's your everyday and it's what you truly believe you have been born to do, it becomes normal.
And what do you think England can learn from New Zealand from the last tournament hosting it?
I think it's embracing the culture and like community. I feel like obviously rugby is like really big in New Zealand. I think coming out of the end of COVID at a time where like people really wanted to watch like live sport and embrace like women's sport in particular, I think that they were really good at like harnessing the sense of like community and like understanding, like really promoting like New Zealand and like Maori culture and like how that influences the game and like how that influences the players that are within the team, and also like spotlighting certain particular players within the Black Ferns. So like learn loads about like Ruby Tui and Portia Woodman-Whitcliffe, and like I think that really helped with not only like learning more about like New Zealand culture as the host and like as the team as well, but then it brings you into like all other teams as well. And I think that's something that England can do, and I think is doing as well, with like promoting like the personalities within the team and bringing more of like the cultural aspects in. Like we've seen like the trophy has been like showcased all across England, and like being able to like spotlight different parts of England where like the games will be playing as well. I think that's really exciting, more so than in other tournaments where it's mainly like London or like Southern based.
Yeah, I love that the opening game's in Sunderland.
Yeah.
Like that's sick.
Yeah.
I love that.
And just one game up there.
Yeah.
Because to say like this is where we're starting, this is what it means. We know the whole country needs to play rugby. We want more and more people, human beings, to play rugby, and we accept that a lot of rugby union happens down south, and all of men's international rugby happens at Twickenham. We can't, as Southerners, we can't expect people to come down to Twickenham every time they want to watch a game of international rugby, and I'm such a fan of that as well, because you've got even like a smaller stadium like York, where yes, there's less capacity in the crowd, but number one, you're going to absolutely ram pack it, so it's going to feel so special. But then it's that local community piece as well, because even where that York stadium is, like it's around other people, it's around other things. And then you go to a Northampton Saints where rugby is life, Exeter, Bristol, where rugby is life, and it's just like literally 8 destinations across England. And that for me is England and the World Cup team saying, like, we want more people to not only play but watch and be involved. And they could just watch, they could volunteer, they could park the cars at your local rugby club, they could do the social media, wash the kit. Like there's so many people of different abilities and mindsets, body shapes, all of the physical stuff. But even if you've only got, you know, an hour a week, an hour a month, you could use that at your local rugby club to enhance that community. And taking it to 8 different locations for me just completely shouts and screams that.
That is actually such a good point, because I think often when we talk about like women in sport, we're always like, go start playing, pick up a tennis racket, pick up a rugby ball, go play football. But actually, like, we need to get women supporting it and watching it and then getting inspired to move themselves. But that is such a good point.
There is a space for everyone in rugby and in rugby communities, and just like kind of remembering that, and like go to your local rugby club. Yeah.
Do it, guys.
Do it.
And even if you can't get there, be the person who responds to emails.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, from home, there's so many things to do.
Anne, I know that you obviously play rugby at Hackney.
Yes.
You work at this pop-up store which sort of supports and promotes women's sport. How do we make the Rugby World Cup part of Hot Girl Summer?
Ooh.
Or Hot Guy Summer? We're not picky here. Anyone.
I'd actually say hot gal summer. You know what I mean?
Hot
Do you say
gal.
girl or gal?
Gal.
Gal.
I don't know.
Hot gal summer.
Hot gals.
But that sounds cool. I absolutely butchered that. You've actually made it sound good here.
Hot gal summer. We've got a pout, do the peace sign. That's what they all do.
That's it. Yeah. How do we make this a hot girl summer? I think we all need to be like attending watch parties and like watching every and anything. We've got the Euros coming up that start this week, and like the all the personalities and all the buzz from there, we need to channel that into the World Cup and like keep that like buzz going by like following players on social media. We need to like follow the teams on social media. We need to like make chants and just make it more exciting. I don't know. I didn't answer the question, but
No, you did answer the question. I think it's interesting that you bring up social media, because Shaunagh, like, women's rugby fandom's changed quite a lot since that World Cup, last World Cup. Like, so many like big names on TikTok now, like followers going through the roof. How do you think it's changed? Have you noticed that?
It's for me, the biggest change since the last World Cup is how much the players embrace it. So when I was in and around camp and it was like, oh no, like I'm a rugby player only. I don't do that. I don't do the dancing. I don't do the trends. Like I'm just here to be the best rugby player I possibly can be, which is fine if you're that type of person. But if you're a type of person, so my favourite at the moment is Sarah Byrne. She's doing so many good things on socials and bringing a lot of herself out, and people being able to look up to her and seeing that, oh, like I can be an incredible rugby player, still have fun, still have time to film it and go get to train and be the best and bring myself out like in my own capacity. But it's more the players side that for me is changing, where people are finally embracing. Number one, this is how to connect to people. Number two, this is how you build your profile. And actually, if you build your individual profile, people then will come and watch a World Cup, because they're not necessarily coming to watch a Canada. They're coming to watch an Alex Tessier. They're not coming to watch an England. They're coming to watch Shaunagh Kabaya. So it's people understanding that part. As a player, we have a role too, to bring everybody together and bring them in. And it's okay to make things about you, even in a team sport, because the best you can be for yourself, you can then bring your best self to the team.
Yeah.
We can't talk about this, Anne, can we, without bringing up that one certain USA player that everyone talks about all the time. She's a clear example of this, isn't she?
Who are you talking about? I don't know who you're talking about. Who's that?
I thought you were being serious then.
Good one, you got her.
You don't heard of her?
He was like, your face is like, where has she been?
Never heard of her. I love her. I love Alona Ma. I think she really brought, like, obviously starting from the Olympics, but even before that, she was doing loads of stuff on social media. But like, I like the element of like fun and like doing fun dances and silly skits and stuff, but also like cause-based stuff and like body confidence and body positivity and like being herself as well. I think she's brought such a good and refreshing mix of like bringing yourself and being able to be like slightly not controversial, but like being able to talk about topics that maybe not everyone wants to talk about, and like bringing that to the forefront as well, and like, but also bringing that like personality to rugby. And especially when she was at Bristol, she was only there for like 3 months, but like was able to like raise the profiles of like the sport and like all the teammates around her as well. And like, I see her as just such a girl's girl. I feel like we'd be pals, like if she knew me. But I just really
it's
like
that confidence again shining through.
Obviously, if she was sat here right now, we'd be besties.
We'd be besties. You two wouldn't be here, and then that's it. But I just like, but I like the fact that I've never met her, but like, and I've watched her play and stuff. But I feel like I'd get on with her. She'd be cool. Like she'd be really nice. And being able to like portray that over social media when you have like 5 million followers or something ridiculous is very hard. And I really respect that she's been able to do that. And like seeing other people, like I love Sarah Byrne as well, like on Instagram, and like Shaunagh Kabaya as well. Like I'm always like obsessed with her stuff and her outfit checks and stuff. But she also does like loads of like.
Well, did you see the one the other day after their kit launch?
Yeah.
So she came out talking about this exchange she had with a security guard. Why are you here? She said, rugby player kit launch. And the person said to her, you don't look like a rugby player. So she done a whole piece on what does a rugby player look like. Yeah. Because that security guard wouldn't have meant any malice and wouldn't have meant to be harm. But if a kid is constantly hearing that you don't look like a rugby player, you don't look like a footballer.
They said that she was too pretty. Too pretty to be a rugby player as well, which is like, what? Like, what does that even...
What does that mean?
And like, yeah. And I think being able to like highlight that, because that's how you like create change as well, is by highlighting like things, like those kind of problematic conversations that like you've had that aren't like maybe like newsworthy, but like, I love that she just did a little video. It's like, someone just said this to me. What? Yeah.
And then maybe the next time somebody else has that thought in their mind, they don't say it out loud. Yeah. Because they don't realise the damage that they're doing. If particularly a little girl is constantly hearing, you're too small to do this, you're too pretty to do that. Yeah. Oh, you like having your hair and nails done, you can't possibly play sport. Yeah. Because that's the other thing, is embracing all of the different types of people, and actually take it right back to your question about hot girl summer and how you make it one.
And hot man summer.
And hot man summer. You can have those two. But it's the dress up watch parties. Like I love the thought of, and not me, because I actually don't like dressing up, although you wouldn't know it today.
Really?
I'm off to tennis. Sorry, I'm going to tennis later.
Yeah.
I'm going to tennis.
You're going to tennis? Oh, I'm not playing. Watching.
Of course I'm not playing. Sorry.
Sorry, I just got it. Sorry.
She's not playing Wimbledon.
Do you know what I mean?
I know, that's what I
Podcast in the
thought.
morning.
Athlete. You're an athlete. I just thought, sorry, go on.
Yeah, tennis
You like different
tennis
sports.
is really hard.
Isn't tennis your next thing?
No, it's so hard.
I heard that you were going to go to tennis next.
Side
You
note.
did,
Anyway.
you did,
Spread that rumour.
Spread it now.
didn't you start? You started in athletics, like
Yeah.
running and stuff, didn't you?
Oh, running.
Did you not hammer? So was it just hammer?
Discus, shot put, and then hammer. Yeah.
Discus, shot put, and hammer.
All in the space of a 7-foot circle. So no running.
No running.
Quite anti-running
Spinning.
actually, which is a surprise considering I did rugby.
Rugby.
A lot of spinning in those sports.
Yeah, I don't have to go far. I don't like running, Betty. It's not for me.
It is time for our Asahi Super Dry pub quiz. Are you guys ready?
Always.
Ready. So can I just clarify? Is there rules? Is there a winner?
Well, yeah, there'll be a winner. It's a pub
great.
quiz.
I'll just turn
It's
my
between
back
you
to
two.
Again, we won't cheat.
Are we
cheating.
doing
Read your
hands
brain.
up? Hands up or question each?
I'll ask the question and you beep answer.
Fine. What's
Okay.
your buzzer?
Uh,
Mine's. That's going to sound great.
Right, so every episode we're going to be putting questions to our guests. So get used to this little feature. We've got a lot of Asahi ready to go. So you guys ready?
Ready.
ready.
Warmed up? Ready to go? Confident?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
We're also going to include some questions as well by you guys, the fans. So get ready to dive into rugby like never before. Question number 1. If someone on this current England team had to design the jersey, who would you pick?
Is that me? Can I go?
Yeah, you can go.
100% Ellie Kildan.
Why?
Her creativity is off the charts. She's so fashionable. She could go into a plastic bag and come out looking glamorous, unreal. Like she just wears things. I'm like, that's not even an outfit, but it looks so fantastic on her. Ellie Kildan.
Good answer. These are quite cool as well, aren't they?
She'd be all over these. And in fact, Ellie Kildan's an Asahi ambassador. Look
Oh,
at that.
well, there we
It's
go.
like
It's
I
on
wouldn't be
LinkedIn.
surprised if she designed these for Asahi.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay, well, good answer. Okay, this is a fan question, by the way, guys, so get ready. If you could team up with any cultural icon to promote the women's game, who would it be and why?
Beep. Oh, God. I would pick Beyonce
Yeah,
or
solid.
Megan Thee Stallion.
Oh.
And I think...
That's better.
Yeah, actually, let me go with Megan Thee Stallion. The knee strength, I think, would be great. Like, she'd just be fabulous. And there's something about her. She's tall. She'd obviously be a second row. But I think that she just has this element of, like, women power and just so empowering about her. And is just so pro-women getting stuff done. And I think that'd be great. It's like she'd just be a great ambassador for rugby.
Yeah.
And she's just very strong, very cool. Megan Thee Stallion for rugby.
Okay, good.
Sure.
Out of interest, what would your answer be?
So I'd actually go with a Jamaican dancehall artist called Spice.
Okay.
That's a great choice.
Why? I haven't...
She is just a boss lady.
Yeah.
Like I just can't explain it. She's just in charge of everything she does. She's always surrounded by men in music.
Yeah.
And yet she's a person who'd walk into a room and just own the space, no matter who's in that room. And again, she's very pro-woman. She has an outstanding dress type. Just think Carnival, like
Yeah.
Notting Hill Carnival, and the outfits that they wear. Spice will wear that every day, rock it, but you still want to be a best mate.
Yeah.
That's confidence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Exactly.
confidence.
Yeah.
And she's not stick thin either, you know.
This is another fan question, but this is for Shaunagh. So, it's a bit of a biased pub quiz, but it's okay. We'll go with it.
I'd like a fan question at some point in my life.
Well, you might be able to. I actually
ask
think
I want a
They're
World
very-
Cup
they're very
medal. I want a fan question.
if you could go back and relive any moment throughout your rugby career, what would it be and why?
So without a doubt, it's the Allianz Premier 15s final of 2021, where we, as Harlequins, we won the league. Had a great, like it was just generally great. I actually love a great day out. It just doesn't matter what happens. As long as I feel good about the day, that's what happens. I felt good. And I got player of the match. And then I ended up giving this, like I had the best game of my life, to the point coming at half time, and Amy Cocaine, who was my hooker at the time, she's like, Shaunagh, what has got into you? You are, and Amy's like, if you get a compliment from Amy, you know you're doing something real special.
Really?
Yeah. And then gave a speech at the end when you do your player of the match interview, and has stayed with me ever since, that little chat.
Oh, that's really nice. What was the speech?
Essentially, it was women's empowerment. Women are good enough.
That's the viral one.
That's the viral
Yeah.
one.
Oh, that was a great speech.
So I actually didn't hear the question. She was asking
Yeah, I could tell. I
me a
don't think you want. I remember watching it and be like,
I
you
didn't
didn't
answer
answer
the
it, but that sounds
question.
fabulous. I was like,
I
that's
just thought,
great.
right,
Yeah.
let it
Women are
out.
playing rugby, and we can do this. And then I can't remember what it was, but it was so. I loved it, and your hair, everything about it. I just remember it. I thought it was so cool.
So good.
And I cried
so
the whole
good.
time.
Yeah.
I cried the whole time.
You cry a lot. In a good way.
I noticed that. Yeah, I am quite connected to my emotions,
I love
actually.
that.
But like for good, for bad,
Yeah.
for middle ground, and I'm happy. Like I'll say, Betty, I'm not happy today. And you'll be like, I don't know what to do with that information, but I don't mind telling you. I'll say, not good today. And you go, all right, do you want to do anything about it? No.
Okay, last one. This is also a question from Fam. What's the best atmosphere you've experienced at a live sports match, and what made it so great?
Ooh.
Both of you can answer.
That's me coming.
I forgot that was your buzzer. Is that
Definitely
you
not making
okay?
the edit.
Yeah.
Just choking.
I have already mentioned it once, but it was being at the final, England versus Germany women's Euros at Wembley.
Yeah.
92,000 people. Like I remember, because where we were sat, we was in there early, and seeing this massive block of seats that was empty, and I was thinking, come on, like that's where the corporate people sit. I thought, come on, corporate people, do us proud, make sure you get there. And I was getting to a point, I was getting angry. I was like, they've got seats and there's fans who want tickets. I was getting all political inside my head. But 10 minutes before kickoff, they started coming out, and so every single seat was filled. And it felt mad to be a part of that. And even to the fact that when the England footballers were warming up, they would, sprint across the pitch with their warm up, and then they would clap the crowd as they went back, to join the back of the line. And I am sure that would have been enforced by the coach, Shaunagh Wiegman, in that, like, girls, embrace this moment. This is special. And these moments are going to come around again. This is not a one-off. But it's that piece where I felt connected to Millie Bright, just hanging out. I was like, oh, she saw me. Oh, she waved at me. Like, she definitely didn't. But yeah, for me, that was the best moment.
I love that you like fangirl because you're like,
I love it.
I know, but I just see you as like the same as them.
No, but
So
I
fabulous.
really, really enjoy it. And I get my power and energy from hyping other people up.
Yeah, no, I love that.
That's amazing. That's proper team sport mentality.
Yeah.
That.
But is it? Because I'm doing it selfishly for me.
I just want to meet them and be friends with them.
I just want to be friends with them. I think you look cool.
Yeah.
You act cool.
So I started Black Girls Rock just so I could hang out with you. That's it.
When you did Hammer, you didn't have anyone to.
No, it was a bit dry.
Yeah.
It was a bit dry.
Yeah, I can
Well,
imagine.
And even like when you got a personal best, like the best throw I've ever thrown in my life, and you're just like, oh, cool. Like nobody cares. Nobody cares. And like for my coach, because if he didn't come with me somewhere, he'd be like, oh, that's really good. And even my mum was not bothered because my mum, do you know what I mean? My mum's just like, okay, cool. What time are you getting home for dinner? What do you want for dinner?
Oh, that's so depressing.
No, I just get used to it. But yeah, it was pretty dry is the word I'd use.
Does
Thankful
sound
for all of it because that was my foundation to be able to start playing and play for England within 2 years. But yeah, it's very, very different sport.
We've already mentioned it quite a few times on this podcast that England lost the last Rugby World Cup final.
You don't have to keep saying it. You know that, right?
I know,
think
but I
they
feel
get it.
like we've just got to hammer it home, Shaunagh. But they went into that World Cup 30 games unbeaten. It's a sort of similar story this time because England are unbeaten since that final. So they're going into this Rugby World Cup on another ridiculous unbeaten streak, which is so impressive, isn't it? But when we're looking at those teams that can challenge England, Anne, who do you think's up there?
I think for me as a viewer, definitely Canada. They've been absolutely amazing. They're placed second in the world at the moment to England, and just like the level of rugby, considering like they haven't got anywhere near as many like resources as England has, having to like crowdfund for like their ability to even come to the World Cup. But the rugby that they play is just absolutely phenomenal. And we've seen them like on the sevens circuit and at the Olympics, like playing at such a high level. I think they're a really exciting team to look out for.
And Shaunagh, you can't sort of talk about England's rivals without mentioning New Zealand, can you?
You're just really trying to send me back 2.5 years.
I'm
I've
not.
done so much progress in my mind.
I don't want you to start singing Adele.
Yeah, New Zealand, no matter what they look like in the lead up to a tournament, no matter what their last game played looks like, their analysis, their numbers, New Zealand are a country who, like, rugby is in their bones and in their heart blood of their whole country. And yeah, certainly a rival. And if all things go smoothly and everybody wins that they're supposed to win, for me, England will play New Zealand in the final. But like, that's not taken away from Canada, as Anne said, being ranked number 2 in the world, if they've got the right pathway to the final, they could get there too. But yeah, New Zealand are very much for me, the big opposition, the big competitor, the ones who play a different style of rugby to England.
France as well. We've spoken a little bit about them, obviously, earlier in the podcast, but you can't write them off, can you?
No, you can never, ever. You can never write France off. And the French women play like they're French men. They're either going to have the most spectacular game of rugby you've ever seen in your life, or it's going to be disastrous. There doesn't seem to be sort of any middle ground when France play, which, again, I've got time for, because
so
the
fun to
entertainment
watch.
value.
Yeah. You just never know what's going to happen when you watch France play. It's so much fun.
Must be hard to play against, though.
Yes, yeah. And I remember a few years ago, we used to practice certain things to counter what France had shown in the last few games. So there was a point when they was picking through the middle of the ruck. So we'd practice for that. And even just things like quick taps when, people don't quick tap, like maybe like a 5 metre out from the try line type of thing. But yeah, it's preparing for the unpredictable. But also just doing your analysis. We give the same respect to every team, and we will look into each team. It used to be like an 80-20 split where, each week we'd look at 80% ourselves and 20% to the other team. But in that 20%, like, you want the detail of what you're looking out for, what you need to counter. But yeah, France, you can never take anything away from France. You've got to play France at your best every time you play them.
What about USA, Anne?
I'm really excited for USA. Like, obviously, Queen Alona Ma is there and, like, has been playing amazingly, like, in the Pacific 4 series. But also I'm really excited to watch Hope Rogers, who plays for Exeter Chiefs. And, like, I know her goal is to be the best prop in the world. I think she might be. And I think there was a game, I can see your face, like...
I've got no opinion whatsoever.
Obviously, there's me. I'm the best prop in the world. But then, like, at an international level, we have to... but watching her play in the Pacific 4 series, there were games where she was scoring, 3-4 tries a game, which for a prop is crazy. And, like, I think between her and Sarah Burton, I just want to see them fight it out. And you can commentate. But, like, I think she's a really, really exciting player. And I think USA have a really exciting outfit coming up to this World Cup. And all eyes will be on them because of, like, the amount of attention they've garnered. And I'm excited for the spectacle of it.
I wonder if they can use that sort of attention, or whether that might put them off a little bit, I guess.
I don't think it will, because when you're from the United States of America,
they
heard,
love it.
They love it. I didn't want to say it, Betty, but yeah, they do love it. And if nobody's watching, there's no pressure to, like, come on, guys, watch me, look what I can do. So no, I think they will revel in the pressure, and there'll be a decent United States of America presence at an England Rugby World Cup. And the other one for me is Australia. Like, I just don't know, in all honesty, because you had Jo Yap go over there as head coach, and she had a rocky start and then, like, a strong middle, and then we're, like, just unsure. But for me, when you prepare a team, and you can say similar for Ireland at the moment, you have to go through almost that rocky patch to get to the outcome. And the outcome for all teams this last 3 years is about the World Cup. And yeah, you might have had a few edgy games in the middle, but you're preparing for the World Cup. And so, yeah, Australia are going to be one to watch for sure for me.
It is really exciting, isn't it? It is so exciting. But look, England haven't won in 11 years. They haven't won the World Cup in 11 years. Do you think they can do it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool.
Next question.
Yeah, great question. Yeah. They have to. Or, like, well, you don't have to, but, like...
Just full stop.
Yeah, they have
next
to.
Question. Yeah.
It's so exciting. And, like, I think the push there is going to be the finals at Twickenham, like, in front of... I think there's been, like, ridiculous amount of tickets sold.
You can't get one, Anne.
Exactly.
No,
you can't even get tickets anymore.
So we've talked about some of the teams that we need to be keeping an eye out for. What about some of the players? And look, there's some players that we need to be keeping an eye out on the pitch, but also off the pitch. Because we're talking about social media. There's some brilliant personalities out there.
Yeah, we can go straight to Fiji. When you've got Asanata, Sarevi, she, like, you know, you think of Fiji and I just think good time gals, good time guys. And you look at her socials and she's just enjoying life.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy that mix. It's not just, for someone like her on her socials, it's not just rugby. It's rugby, it's family, it's dancing on the beach, it's being with friends. And it's that reminder, and particularly for me, to younger players, that you don't, if it's not right for you, you don't have to be hyper focused on just performance, just rugby. Like that can come with enjoying other parts of your life too. So yeah, I'm a big fan of the social media players, and especially when but then there is that bit where if they don't perform on pitch, it's an easy go-to for a coach or the media to say, oh, she's focusing too much on social media. Spending too much time on TikTok.
Yeah.
Probably gives a good perspective though. And if you've got another sort of income stream coming in through your social media, maybe takes the pressure off.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anne, anyone that comes to mind?
I'd say my favourite at the moment is Pam Birisa, who plays for Canada. And she was off for the Pacific 4 series due to injury. But she's been like back at training camp, and like seeing all her like TikToks and videos with the girls, I just love, because it just reminds me of like playing rugby at Hackney, and like the main reason why I love playing is like hanging out with my friends, and it's funny, and like it's like that element of fun. And I think it's really nice when people do capture that element of fun. And I love the idea of her getting like all these professional athletes to do like silly dances and stuff like that, whilst they're like, after they're doing Broncos and stuff. And it's nice seeing like the human side of these like elite athletes.
Yeah. I like Rona Lloyd from Scotland. She's great crack.
Rona in the Wales. She's
Why are you laughing?
Because it's funny. Rona, I'm agreeing with you.
She's
basically.
Yeah.
Without words, with laughter, because Rona Lloyd is fantastic.
Yeah, she's brilliant. What about on the field then? Who do we need to be looking out for? Who is gonna step up during this Rugby World Cup?
I've said it, Sarah Byrne and Hope Rogers. I want my prop fight off, and like I want a prop to be player of the tournament of the World Cup. Is that a thing that we do?
I mean, it is a thing.
It's a thing that we can do.
Obviously, the World Cup has a player of the tournament.
Does it?
Of course.
Yeah, it does. I knew that.
We can have a player of the podcast.
We can have a player of the podcast. And I wanted to go to a prop because, like, as you know, props do so much hard work.
She's going to be biased already, I'm just saying. If Hope Rogers wins it at the end of this series.
Yeah. Well.
Shaunagh, what about you? Any names spring to mind?
Yeah. So, obviously, biased towards England. For me, it's my two podcast co-hosts is Maud Muir and Sadia Kabeya. Yeah. But they are good time girls off pitch, but also when they're on pitch, like things are serious. And then even Ababalwa Latsha of South Africa, she's just strong and hard and everything. She's so keen. So I've played with her as well, and she's so keen to learn. She's always so interested. She's very much a student of the game, and no matter how old she is getting, i.e. she's just growing older, like she's never too afraid to ask questions and to learn and to be a better player. And I'll also give you one more, and Alex, in fact I'll give you two more, what a treat. Alex Tessier of Canada. Yeah. Watching her smash it up in the PWR for Exeter week in, week out, and then for Canada. And that I really enjoy that fly half centre combination that a player can do, being able to pull the strings from both inside and a bit further outside on the pitch. But she's that unpredictable player, and I'm sure I have no idea, but I'm just making this up entirely from my mind, that she'll probably get told off a few times because she just does random things, but they pull off because she scores or somebody else scores. And I have no doubt the forwards will get annoyed at her at some times because she's not gone to plan, but then by magic there's a try in the corner, so everything's okay. And then my self-appointed global chief of Aoife Wafer fan club.
Oh, I love her.
So Aoife Wafer of Ireland, the back row. She's she's.
Why do you like her?
Because she is hot girl summer.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I just want to be like her.
She's just it. I don't know how to do this. She's just that girl.
She just carries so hard so often. So Ireland struggled without her in their last game of the Six Nations, and it's realising that when you don't have a player like that on the pitch, not to say everyone else struggles, but you notice it because not only is when she's on the pitch, she's doing her thing for herself and the team, but other people then seeing, oh, like Betty's hitting that ruck again, Betty's carrying again. I better step up. Like, I better get involved. I need to have her back. So she just brings everybody else with her.
Up.
Brings the standard up. Yeah.
That's what I'm doing with this podcast.
Rude. Well, I was just going to say, and then she got player of the tournament in the Six Nations, because that's the thing, obviously.
It is a thing. I mean, I knew it in the Six Nations. God. I'm going to pick my favourite on the podcast, and it's definitely not Betty or Shaunagh. It's definitely not you two, so it's myself. That's mean.
Well, both of you, thank you so much for joining us. It has been brilliant. Shaunagh, I can't wait to watch you make your debut at Wimbledon later.
Yeah, nice.
Because that's obviously what you're doing.
You can't just say you're going to the tennis and expect me not to think you're playing. I don't know that. And then it is Wimbledon. It makes sense now, but at the time,
just that famous championship, you know? Notoriously
Also,
hard to get into.
I mean, just like it's to play tennis.
I might come. I'll come with you. It's
Fine. And you've got a job to do here.
No.
Right.
Also, thank you to So for hosting us here today, and Asahi Super Dry.
Let's have a cheers, Anne.
Yeah,
Oh,
give a
little
cheers.
premature.
Little early.
Cheers, Asahi.
Don't break them. And we'll be back doing all of this ahead of the World Cup starting, won't we?
Yeah, we will. You're going to be sick of me.
Yeah, I think I will. More chat to come. Of course, the tournament gets underway on the 22nd of August. England taking on the United States in Sunderland. How about that?
I'm a fan. It's a yes from me.
We're going to have loads of episodes, preview episodes to each match weekend. We're going to have big guests. Not bigger than you, though. You've set the bar very high.
Started a high bar.
I don't think we can get any better. But subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And thank you so much for listening and watching. We'll see you soon. Goodbye.